Should he go to the D-league? Well, here's the results. 58.8% say yes, and 41.2% say no. Stephen A., do you agree with our followers he should go to the D-league?
First things first, obviously Allen Iverson and I go back a very, very long ways. I covered him every day for the first 7 years of his, pretty much first 10 years of his career in Philadelphia. I'm not objective when it comes to Allen Iverson. I got a lot of love for him, and I wish him well. He and I have talked about this in the recent past because the Dallas Mavericks, in terms of their D-league, they've approached him about this before, as recently as a year ago. He and I have talked about this. I have been of the mindset, Skip, that he should, but he shouldn't have to. What I mean by that is that you've been away from the game for a couple of years. You were a miniature 6-foot dynamo, just electric. Some of the greatest years of my professional career was watching the show that this boy put on night in and night out. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned. We know the numbers. 3-time NBA All-First Team, 11-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, League MVP in 2001, one of the most electrifying scorers in NBA history. But the fact that he's been away from the game, and his game, as miniature as he is predicated on quickness. I don't blame teams for having to see what he can do again from a basketball standpoint. Where I tend to side with Allen Iverson, even though pride, can get in the way from time to time with all of us, where he has an ally in me, is when he is reticent or reluctant because of an innate belief that there are people affiliated with teams that may necessarily want to, quote unquote, teach him a lesson, or subject him to somewhat humiliating circumstances that he doesn't want to endure. Now, some people would sit there and say, well, what's humiliating about it? It's simple. This dude, I'm telling you, when you talk about great little guards in NBA history, you name 3 people. You name Nate Tiny Archibald, you name Isaiah Thomas, and you name Allen Iverson. That's what you do. And to do what he has done in this league and for this league, in terms of filling seats, in terms of electrifying the NBA and helping catapult the NBA to another level, to then sit there because of practice, because you didn't like his attitude or whatever the case may be, while he was on that high, and to look at it as a way to sit there and say, well, we don't need that anymore. I'm one of those guys, Skip, we were going to talk about Robert Parrish yesterday before we moved on to the other subjects. I'm one of those guys that I'm sensitive to people who've done so much for the league and somehow, some way, if not taken care of, at least not given the opportunity to be taken care of. They talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they said, well, he had an acerbic attitude. He was a bit dismissive. He also had the most unstoppable move in the game. He's the league's all-time leading scorer. He's a 6-time champion, and somebody the league utilized to elevate itself. Somehow, some way, something more than, I don't particularly like this guy. You need to give me something more than that to deprive them of an opportunity to showcase themselves. And Allen Iverson, to me, what he said to me, Skip, and what I read from his tweet this morning, which is consistent with what he said to me months ago, was this. If I'm going to go down, let me go down the way I came in. I came in as an NBA player. Let me go out as an NBA player. I mean, there's nothing about him that should be associated with D-league. I understand if you're scared because he's small and you want to see what he's got, or you want him to work out before coming to an NBA team. But to treat him like he's got to try out, he's Allen Iverson. He is Allen Iverson. I think he deserves a little bit more than that.
He used to be Allen Iverson. Is he still Allen Iverson?
We don't know.
Do you have any idea? Can he still play?
When I've seen him, I haven't seen him play, but I'm never going to assume. Look, man, when you got it, you got it. Now, you may not have it to a certain level where you can do what you used to do, but you have to remember, even when Allen Iverson had slippage, he was still averaging 18 a game. So what I'm trying to say to you is that if and again, this is a guy that wasn't known for taking care of it. He didn't live in a weight room.
I agree.
You know, so I get all of that. But my point is, if he's making the argument, you want to try me out, put me up against the boys you got in an NBA uniform. It shouldn't take long. You know, it shouldn't take you but a minute to figure out what I can do. But to ask him to come to the D-league, who would you do that to? See, that's where it gets dicey, and that's where
I don't think Donnie Nelson's asking him to try out. He's asking him to come help him sell some tickets to his D-League team that he co-owns.
Okay.
He's got Delonte there. He's got Rashad McCants. It's like, come one, come all, see what's left of these guys.
But think about what you're saying.
Well,
Delonte West,
I agree.
Rashad McCants,
okay.
Allen Iverson.
Okay. So unless Allen needs a few bucks, and I have no idea what his financial situation is.
Neither do I. He says he's fine.
Okay. Well, then there's no way.
Even though reports to the contrary.
No way he should subject himself to this unless he feels like he's going to have to crawl back to the NBA. And I don't think he believes that, because he could go light it up in the D-League, and I'm sure Mark Cuban could say,
why not?
Maybe, you know. But Stephen A., look, you know his game.
Yeah.
You know that at about, what is he, 5'11"? I'm not sure he's 6 feet tall.
He's 6 feet.
Okay. It's close. I've stood next to him. I'm not sure he's 6 feet.
Yeah.
160, 165
Actually
pounds.
looked a little bit bigger. Looked around 175, 180 last time I saw him.
Well, that's the last time you saw him, which is back to the point.
Solid.
He survived on lightning quickness, like quickness we've never seen before, and toughness. He took a beating unlike anyone I think I've ever seen. He would go into the trees time and time again and just get knocked on his rear end and go to the foul line without flinching. And he took a lot of toll on him physically over the years.
Right.
If he's lost a little bit of that quickness, if he hasn't stayed in peak shape, because he used to just play his way into shape, and he would play all the offseason.
Yeah.
Where can I get a run? Where can I go? You know. Well, if you're not in that peak shape, then you're not Allen Iverson anymore at 37.
Well, I will say this. This is the part that's been very, very unfair, and this is as a beat writer covering this guy. I have seen this guy go into, I'm talking about eyewitness account, firsthand account. I've seen this guy go into an arena and play horrible when he got a good night's sleep, when he rested and ate his veggies, when he wasn't at Fridays eating a burger or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? And then he hung out all night long. Looked like he barely got any sleep and dropped 58. Certain things work for certain people.
I know.
And so for me...
Okay, but you can't do that when you're 37.
I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is some people couldn't do that at all.
Yeah.
So he has defied logic. And all I'm saying is this. I'm not saying that you sign him to a guaranteed one-year contract or anything like that. But when you have someone who has done as much for the league as this dude has done, he deserves for an NBA team to say, let me give you a legitimate look and see what you have left.